All right, what is up? It is Run Pure Sports. We're doing a little basketball here, a little NBA Hardwood. You see Mangone. You see some people behind Mangone. Is that Lamar Jackson and Kim Kardashian behind you? Who's back there?
That is Taylor Swift. It is Jason Kelsey, Kylie Kelsey. Actually, also Jason Kelsey's mom, right? And Travis Kelsey's mother. You see her there on my this shoulder, so it's my right shoulder, maybe your left shoulder. But this was actually my question, Holden. Would you get down with Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey's mom? I mean,
sure. What else am I doing tonight? I don't have any plans.
I was just curious. I was like, Holden, I feel like is down for anything, and I figured he might say yes to that.
Think about it. That wouldn't be for pleasure. That would be so I could look at Travis and Jason Kelsey's and be like, yes, I banged your mom.
Okay, so the clarification there is you're doing it for a certain reason, so you're not excited for it, but you're doing it more for the experience.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Don Yeezy, you know me. And I'm doing it. It's not the experience. It's for the like, hey, Travis, let me tell you something that happened back in 2024, just before you won your third Super Bowl. What's going on there? Rubio Dimes. What's up there, Rubio? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's a good time. Like DC made me break my Onyx box back there yesterday. So that was a fun time, but we had a good time with FanDuel yesterday. I was hoping to get some overtime with the Mavericks and Magic, but it just means that the winner's coming another day, and hopefully that's tonight. A little 5-game NBA slate, so I'm excited. What better way to spend it than with my guy Mangone and you, Holden? That was a pleasant surprise when I popped into this room and I saw your face. My day got a little bit worse, but it's still good, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, maybe doing some free shows, just hanging out, seeing what's going on with the boys. I don't know where the dude has this information. He says Kelsey's mom's a freak. Agree or disagree, Mango, since this is your question.
I don't know where that information's from. That's funny. Hold on. I will tell you this. I should extend an invite to you. I might hang out with DC this weekend. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I was doing some research about Denver last night. I was looking into some things, and I stumbled upon something that me and DC would have a great time doing. And
Pirates.
No Pirates. It's an Asian cuisine restaurant that has ping pong tables at it. So you rent the ping pong table, you eat some Asian food, and I was like, DC, you and I would love this, right? I mean, have some food and play some ping pong. We're both really good at ping pong, right? I don't know why this is in Denver, but I said, I'm down to get dinner and play some ping pong if you want.
I've been to one of those, Mangone. They're actually really, really fun. 10 out of 10 experience, yes.
What is it? Is it called like, what is it called? It's called like it was called some weird name, like and I can find it. It's like,
it was in London or whatever, but like they have like all these.
It's called Ace Eat Serve is what it's called.
Ace, yeah, definitely wasn't called that. That's a terrible name.
You just stop at serve. There's like not a next level to this. You're just keeping it at that.
That's what it's called. I see what you're saying, Pi Daniels in the chat. Listen, I just want good food and to play ping pong with DC, man. Like I randomly was stumbling upon it because Holden, I'll share this with you just because it's fun. I'm going to Denver with a chick, and we're doing something downtown, and I was like just looking for ideas, right? Something different, something fun. I know Denver, but I don't know it super well. And I was like, maybe there's things I don't know about that would be cool. And I stumbled upon that, and I was like, DC and I need to go do this. We'll have fun. So me and him are going to do that maybe this weekend. We're going to try to
hold on.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so you thought of this idea with a girl that you brought to downtown. You're like, you know what? I need to spend this time with DC.
No. Last night I was looking for different ideas because I'm going out tomorrow night, and I was like, just trying to come up with different ideas. And I was like looking because I was like, I have some, but I knew the one. I'm not saying the place I'm going to, so no one finds me there. But I didn't remember the name of it. So as I was looking through things, I found the name of that one place, but then I found something else that is even better to do. And I happened to stumble upon this ping pong thing, and I said, oh, this ping pong thing sounds cool. I got to do this one day. DC's good at ping pong. I'm good at ping pong. Rubio, if you lived in Denver, I would invite you to do this with me.
I'm just saying, you were thinking about date ideas, basically. And then, like, what popped in your head was DC. Like, I'm just saying. Right?
I'm lost, Rubio. Honestly, here's what
I was specifically looking with someone else that I'm going to do something tomorrow, and I will not state what I am doing.
But where does DC factor into this? None of this makes sense. Now I think you're totally lying. Like, first of all, it's DC. Now you're going with a girl. Now there's ping pongs. Now there's girls. What's going on here? Please.
DC is someone that is good at ping pong. We're both really good. So
where's the girl in this whole thing?
Because the only reason I found it was I was looking for fun things to do in Denver. I was looking for fresh ideas, right? I was Googling it.
So there's no woman in this whole thing. This was just you.
Tomorrow there's a woman.
Hold on. So there is a woman in this. Okay.
Tomorrow there's a woman.
All right, what's going on? Where did you meet this? This is forget about the other shit. Where did you meet this girl?
I mean, hold it. I don't talk about my
Don't worry about not talking about it.
I mean, I've met plenty of women in this town, and it's one that's I met on an app, right? You know, and
you met her on an app. Was it Plenty of Fish? Because that's where I met a woman with a peg leg and a glass eye.
Definitely wasn't Plenty of Fish. I'll tell you that. But
what are you thinking of this, Rubio? I think there's something shady about that. He's not telling us the whole story.
I was coming up with ideas. And that one just popped. I was like, oh, like I found this, and then I happened to see something else, and I was like, oh, this would be a cool thing to do with DC.
Mangone is a natural idea, man. You know, he's good at getting the ideas out, laid out in the wood shop, and, you know, maybe hitting the workbench. I don't know with who, but could be a lady tomorrow. You never know. No,
hold on. Let me respond to Hype Gotta here. It's not that I'm slow. It's that it started with a ping pong Asian restaurant, and then it went to DC, but then he figured out how to throw in this lady that he's with, but then he wanted to go do it with DC before he went to the lady.
It's a totally different thing. I'm not.
Why did you bring up the girl then? Was that a humble brag or what?
Because it made sense, because it's like, why you guys were like, well, why were you looking for this thing? And it was like, well, the reason I looked for it was I was looking for ideas to do in Denver, and then I saw that throughout that idea. So that's why I brought it up. It made sense to throw in there. I didn't bring it up at the beginning, Holden. I brought it up when there was some confusion to try and explain it. You know, I'm not the one to, you know, ever really share those things. So, yeah.
Hey, Schlong.
What's up, guys?
Where are you?
How you doing? I am in my mom's basement, like Draft Sheet, except I don't live here full time.
That's where winners are at, baby.
Well, not after that fucking soccer slate. I'll tell you that. I never want to hear Mark mention soccer again.
Our guy Roman was up top. Is he still up top?
I turned it off.
I don't blame you.
But no, my mom bought a townhouse, like, so she's from the DC area, like out in the suburbs. So she's downsizing and getting closer to the city because it's simply too much house for her. So I'm helping her set up her internet at her new house, helping her move all her shit out. I was just moving a treadmill outside that didn't really fit through the doors. So that was fun. Take his day to my mom's basement, CW 89. She's not on the market. Shut the fuck up. That's an easy no.
Is she older or younger than me?
That's a great question.
She is 70.
Oh boy. Were you were an accident? She never told you that. That's what happened. She's 70, and what are you, like 28?
No, I'm 30. Oh. She's 67.
Oh, and that's not bad. 67 to 30 is 37 years old. That's younger than I was when I had my kids. Yeah, we didn't start the show, Caleb. Don't worry about it. We were waiting for Schlong to get here. Mangone was telling us about, you know, his sexcapades lately. And I don't know what the hell Rubio's doing. Rubio, what are you doing?
Rubio's trying to egg people on.
What are you drinking, Rubio? What are you drinking?
Drinking a Diet 7-Up, looking at the NBA.
Why?
Like, what do you mean?
Why are you drinking a diet soda?
Because I already had a Red Bull today, and if I have more Red Bull, I'll just have anxiety the rest of the night, basically.
Why don't you just drink real soda with sugar in it?
Because that's not healthy.
It's Red Bull. You know what's not healthy is diet bullshit soda.
Rubio's the guy that buys diet soda and he's like, oh yeah, this is a little bit healthier. When it's like just literally not. It could be the same or worse than the actual soda.
I also go to the store. I buy peanuts and Stouffer's chicken Alfredo and stuff. You know, it's a good time.
This fucking guy. This guy. I mean, Rubio, you are something else, man.
This is life. Red Bull or diet soda. That's it.
Rubio, you ever tried crack?
I heard it's better than Red Bull.
That's what I hear too, and it seems to be really good because people can't seem to stop.
That is one reason I will not try it.
That's the reason why you're not going to try it, Mangone. Yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be a bad idea for me to get on that stuff. Like, it just wouldn't work out well.
You've never even eaten an edible, have you?
No, I haven't done that either.
I mean,
maybe one day.
That you don't have to come back time and time again for. That's a very easy.
Yeah, I'm not as worried about that, but I'd be worried about crack for sure. You know.
Great point by Dante. Rubio drinks 7 Red Bulls and says soda isn't healthy.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say that. I didn't say it wasn't healthy. Just said it wasn't the healthiest option. You know what is the healthiest option? 7-Up diet, 0 sugar.
Doesn't that like your sperm count? Or does that Mountain Dew?
He doesn't care. He doesn't have any sperm.
That explains a lot lately.
You've been trying to get her pregnant. It just hasn't been working. Stop drinking diet soda, Rubio. It's the doctors. 9 out of 10 doctors say to try that.
I think my favorite part is Bryce just low key ruined diet soda for me just now, just with one word.
It was his best line ever.
Oh God,
Rubio, if you
we're coming, I'm tilted. We're coming in hot today.
Yeah. By the way,
because the soccer.
Crew always thought I was a stoner, and everyone thought that in high school too. I was like always zoned out, and yeah.
Oh my God! By the way, Rubio, he was not kidding. Cloud infertility. Studies have found that excessive consumption of soda is strongly linked to infertility in both men and women.
Rubio, to be fair, like Big T has 3 kids, and I don't think his Mountain Dew consumption started after the children. I think it was always going on, but he also has kidney stones, so you know, press your luck there.
How do you? Yeah, right. So you're gonna get kidney stones and no kids.
Back when I, drank Red Bulls every day at my sales job, it was told by nurses that came in. They would say, it causes kidney stones, and I always laughed off and like, no, we're serious. I'm like, oh. So I know I'll get kidney stones because of the Red Bull, not because of the diet soda.
Dude, that looks awful. Tony just looks miserable. I've heard kidney stones apparently are like the worst thing ever, so I'm not messing with it. Hi, K Fleek Burner. Welcome back to the chat. Sorry about this weekend. That was an accident. I didn't really miss it. I have 6 kids. Hold on a second. Guess it's too late to start drinking.
Oh God.
Pull-out method doesn't work, Swerve. You should have figured that out after the first 5.
Dude, Holden. I have 2 friends. They're married, and the one girl, they're young. The one guy's 25, the other one's 19. And she's like, I'm not trying to have kids till probably I'm like 26. And I was like, well, how do you guys, how are you gonna handle that? He's like, oh, he just pulls out. I was like, yeah, you're not lasting until 26. There's no chance. No. There's literally 0% chance. Pull-out method is not there. There's no way. There's no way you're going to make it that many years.
No.
Unless Rubio's shaking his head like he pulls that off all the time.
It's a 0% certainty. You can't just say 0%.
Let's get to know each other. Hold on. What is the preferred contraception method, Rubio?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? What's the preferred method? Please don't tell me you bag it.
No, I don't. No, it's pull-out. I mean, that's all it is.
Oh my God, Rubio, how do you not have a kid?
We'll find out.
You are playing with fire. Look at Schlong. Even Schlong's looking at you. Go, whoa! You are playing with fire, Rubio.
Yeah, if the Holy Lord above me says I have a kid, I'll do what he wants.
Schlong, thoughts on Rubio's? Yeah, he's playing with fire, man.
Might have to decrease your salary if you have a kid. Can't work as
more
much.
Diet soda. I had another one.
Yeah. Just keep drinking fucking Mountain Dew. You'll have no kids. Won't even have to pull out. It's like getting a vasectomy.
You don't even have to worry. You just have a vasectomy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, it's getting one of those. I was the 1% that my nuts hurt for 6 weeks afterwards. So
how about Jalen Brunson tonight?
What?
How about Jalen Brunson tonight?
Who gives a shit? I was going to bring up Mangone taking his girl axe throwing because they were talking about axe throwing in the chat, dude. They got a smash room that just opened up down here. You could go axe throwing. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with a girl.
First of all, Holden, we're going to clarify, not my girl, just a lady, not my girl. I want to clarify that 1,000%.
You want her to be your girl?
I don't know. If I do, I will, but I don't know right now. And 2, not going axe throwing. I mean, axe throwing's fine, but I don't think it's a great activity. You want something. I feel like you want something think you want something where there's like more, there's a little more you can do. Like you have a little versatility. Like axe throwing, that's all you can do, right? It's like, well, if axe throwing's not a good time, you're fucked, right? Like there's nothing else you could do. They need to go somewhere else, right? You have to come with another idea. You want some more versatility, I think, on earlier dates. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Let me just where was this?
Well, I don't know. You don't want to put yourself in a box too much, in my opinion. You want to have at least some flexibility.
Cody H, we've got an hour show and just 5 games. So sit back, relax, pop open your favorite soft drink, become infertile, and we'll get to the NBA. Don't worry about it. Everything's just fine, guys. I do have some questions for you, gentlemen, before we get going, though. Anyone have a take on Embiid? Because it's still the talk here in town in Denver, where these jabronis, I mean, the Embiid is talking about how it's going to be impossible. He never missed the game in Denver. I don't even remember last time he played in a game here. The guy pulled out just before the game started. Sorry about that, Rubio, but this is absolutely ridiculous. 5 more games and he's done for the MVP. And I looked this morning at the current MVP odds. The Joker is back at plus 115. SGA is now plus 350, and Embiid's between 450 and 500. And I must say, and I don't know which one he's going to have an opinion on this, but let's get Embiid out of it right now. This is an embarrassment as a Kansas grad, seeing a guy be this much of a pussy. Very disappointing that people have gone year after year to see Embiid come to Denver to play, and he sits out every year. Ridiculous.
Well, how many more games can he miss before he's
5.
Ineligible? 5?
5.
And he's probably going to miss tonight, right? Like
4.5 line.
He's out.
I think he's out.
I mean, he's out of the MVP race. There's no way he's only going to miss 4 more games this year. 5
definitely going to be hard. It's definitely going to be hard for him to pull it off, but he could. I mean, it's not impossible.
So let me ask you this, Mangone. Is SGA like a legit MVP candidate? Is there any chance he's catching Jokic if Jokic stays healthy?
He's a legit candidate. I mean, I think one of the arguments you can make is I think a lot of people care about the 1 seed in arguments. Like they'll say, well, this guy was a 1 seed. And I think that narrative will push really strong over the next 3 months, whether it's correct or wrong. Number 2, it depends on how SGA closes, right? He's played really phenomenal, but like, let's be real. The last 3 months matter. And like, okay, if Jokic goes down with an injury, that's clearly going to make SGA vault to like one of the top guys. So we'll see. I think a lot of that matters. And let's say the Nuggets, I don't know where the Nuggets are in the standings, but if the Nuggets are like a 6 seed or 7 seed, like
1, 2, or 3.
Okay. Are they at that? Cause I know at first early on, they were struggling, but my point is when you have a team that has someone like Jokic, who's won a lot, but then they see a little bit of decrease in production because they haven't tried. It feels like they haven't they just haven't gotten the job done like past years. Maybe things are a little stale. It's hard to give it to them, right? So that's another factor that'll play into it. I don't know how close and tight the standings are, and we have so much time left, right? We still got 2 full months. You can make a case that April, a lot of these guys do sit a bit, so it feels like we got 2 months here to go.
Well, I'll just say this. The Nuggets are a half game behind the Wolves for the top spot in the West. Okay. The Thunder are a game behind the Wolves, so they're right there. So you got Minnesota, Denver, OKC, and then the Clippers are 2 games back, which is fascinating. And then we had a question, what about Luka in the chat? And Luka's 50-1. Is Luka that far off? Like, I don't want to place 50-1. I guess because they're 7th in the conference.
I don't think he's that far off SGA specifically.
And it might be worth a 50-1 in case, in case there's bananas.
He could be, but I think the key part with Luka is I think Kyrie being out is a really important part, and Kyrie missing games because that just funnels so much more usage to him right now. Of course, Luka can have big games with someone like Kyrie in, but like the way Luka becomes the MVP, and the Mavericks are currently winning a bunch of games. They got to win a lot of games, and Luka has to have a James Harden 2019 kind of run, right? Where when you're watching it, it just feels like every single night it's 40 points, triple doubles all the time, and it's just absolutely nuts. And he's just doing it with a bunch of clowns, right? And then they shoot up the standings a bit. That's, I think, how Luka would get there. And it's certainly possible. But I think part of it, the equation is, I think Kyrie would need to miss some games. Not saying he has to miss all of them, but I think he has to miss some of them.
Schlong, look at the screen.
We have my mom's dog here who is not quite as small as Mateo. So she is upstairs at the moment.
Does that dog pick winners?
No one picks winners like Mateo. The Senegal loss really broke him up yesterday.
That was clear match fixing, baby. That was the Ivory Coast.
All right, enough of the soccer. We're trying to gain viewers here, okay, guys? And by the way, I don't know what I was thinking. Luka's plus 650, so 6.5 to 1. It's Tatum that's 50 to 1.
Yeah, I was about to say I was going to put the max on Luka.
Yeah, plus 650.
Learn how to read, Holden.
Is it worth a bet at that price?
No. 650, probably not. I also don't like locking up money for season-long bets. I like never play anything season-long. The longest I feel comfortable locking up money for is like a week.
I like locking it up in MVP race at the beginning of the year because you're getting great numbers, but that's about it.
I mean, I like them because they're fun. Like, I'm not saying I do them like I'm an MVP guru that's like just focusing on that market or something, but like I think they're fun to take some shots early on. And again, you're not putting too much behind it. It's more that one. They're more like recreational bets for me personally.
Rubio, who's the MVP? Is it Jokic, and who is some dark horses here?
If Embiid played 65 games,
much as I love not.
Jokic, yeah, I think he will. I think he'll play 65 on the dot. I think he plays tonight too, for what it's worth.
You think Embiid plays enough to win the MVP?
Yep, I think there's even a chance where down the stretch they'll play like 20 minutes a game or something like that to try and sustain that. And I don't know, that min game like threshold is going to create some interesting scenarios down the stretch too. Like Halliburton tonight, he's limited, and I think a lot of that might have to do with like the All NBA third team stuff, right? Like if you can potentially make that end of the season, reward basically, get a huge contract boost and future negotiations and stuff for those who make All NBA teams. Like Halliburton could be in that mix where, what if he is a contender for an All NBA third team, which is just stacked guard wise across the board, but he has to play in 65 games to even be eligible. And that's why some of these guys could be limited down the stretch. I think it'll become fantasy relevant more in like March and April. But I think Embiid will play 65 unless it's a serious injury that keeps him out. Because right now, it's just soreness. And I think yesterday's game, he missed out because, one, they didn't want the optics of him playing the game right after Denver. And it was a back-to-back leading into tonight. I think he's going to be fine. He's still got 5 more to go. And that's only what? We're about 35 games or something like that. That's not egregious at all.
I'd like to bet that he doesn't. Like that he misses.
I also think they don't want to give it to him 2 years in a row when it was kind of questionable the year before.
And then Jokic goes on that.
It's like Jokic got shorted last year, won the title. Like even if Embiid deserves it over him, if it's super close, they're going to give it to Jokic.
I agree.
I do think him sitting against Denver the way he did, I think it's going to be a mental block. I mean, the voters, they think about these things. They don't actually think about some of the statistics and all that. Like they think about a lot of this bullshit. So I think they're going to have that in the back of their mind for sure.
I said that last year though, Mangone, when he came to Denver and he sat out, and I said, "Oh man, they're going to have a hard time giving him the MVP," and they did. And they forget.
But he played enough. This time it's a little bit closer, for sure.
I can think. Where was Mark? I can think of a lot worse people for Mangone to stop doing that too.
That is very true. There's a lot worse people in this box that I could do that to. So yeah.
Who else?
I mean, I don't know. The guy in the Chiefs hat drinking the drink. I don't know. I don't even know who that is. That'd be really weird. So
right. Very good. Like button would be great. That's what we need to do. And then I also want to let everybody know that we have a Discord. And Discord, for those of you who don't know what it is, but if you already know what it is, you can basically ask our coordinators anything you want at any point in time. Like at least one coordinator's up at 4 a.m. just answering questions about something. But Mangone was going apeshit in the Discord. Is everything okay, Mangone? I forgot to bring it up. People were not being nice to you, and I was going to hop in, but I thought you could battle your own battles.
I wasn't going apeshit. Someone reads it one way and they say I'm angry, and they just assume. I wasn't angry. I was just looking for clarity, and then I wouldn't say I was angry. I would say I was frustrated. There's a difference between anger and frustration. I mean, if you want to see me angry, I mean, Rubio's seen me angry on the basketball court, and I got the job done. So there's definitely a difference between angry and frustrated. And people read how they want to read in the Discord. I was definitely not angry.
Not angry. Okay.
I wasn't angry, Caleb. You've never seen angry. You can ask. Everyone knows me that works here. And
Okay.
I was even talking with Bobby H, and I was like, did I sound angry? Because I was talking about something else. And he was like, no, you didn't sound angry, but you sounded frustrated. And I was like, yeah, I think that's definitely the way I was. I was frustrated. That's all.
Phallic has a question for Rubio. What's next to the baby pillow on the bed today? Is that a blankie?
It's a pillow. Oh, wait, it's a towel.
Well, given our conversation earlier today, Rubio.
Why is the towel on the bed? I don't know.
Right. That's my question to you. Okay. Let's get going. Let's get into this slate. We got a little 5-gamer tonight. We may have to jump in with some other stuff to talk about to get it to an hour, but we're not going less than an hour today, guys. I'm telling you right now, we're not doing it. We need 300 likes to be great. Whatever. That's what we're doing for whatever algorithm there is. So a 5-gamer. And as it looks like right now, let's see here. Maxi's out. Embiid. My injury designation for Embiid is total pussy. That's my injury designation for him right now. And then we've got Quickly doubtful. We got AD out. We got Horford out. A lot of questionables out there too. Halliburton.
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle. Yeah, I mean, he's out for a while. That dude's what are we talking, like 4 to 6 weeks with Randle at this point? Hallie's gonna play, but he's gonna be brought along gradually. So you got that going for you. And that's about it. So a 5-gamer tonight. Schlong, I'm gonna get you involved here, buddy. We're gonna start with the Jazz and the Knicks. Okay, we got a 230 total, right around 230. 4.5 point spread. OG is questionable. We already talked about Randall being out. Utah has everybody good to go. Let's break down this game. DK, FanDuel, how you see it going?
Knicks are going to be incredibly popular again if OG misses. There's no doubt about that. DiVincenzo absolutely nuked last slate. Utah is about as good of a matchup as they can get. Tibbs will run these starters into the ground, 40 minutes plus for all of them. Quentin Grimes disappointed last time. I was under on Quentin Grimes that slate. I plan on being under Quentin Grimes again as a value play. I simply think there's so much fucking value on this slate. I don't think you need to go to Knicks backups. I'm willing to give Precious another shot just because he absolutely fucked everyone the other night, and I don't think he was that bad of a play. So, everyone's going to be off him. DiVincenzo and Hart are going to be two of the highest owned players on the slate, especially DiVincenzo. And I think they're a good chalk here. I think Brunson, I think he's pretty solid chalk too. I mean, he's only 9.3K. You saw him super owned last time, and there's not as much to spend on this slate. So see him being super owned as well. Jazz rotations are a miss as always. Throw Laurie in your lineups. Throw Sexton. Collins and Clarkson are kind of the only ones I have interest in. I fucking hate playing Utah, and New York gets a lot worse defensively without these guys in. So I think it's kind of a sneaky, good matchup for Utah compared to what the Knicks normally are.
Mangone, let's get it here. What do you want? Do you want this Knicks value tonight? Any pieces?
Yeah. So for what it's worth, it's a 5-game slate. It's always worth mentioning how many games there are and what the values are looking like. And yeah, you have to look at these Knicks values. They were good plays yesterday on a slate where the Memphis plays dominated the values. And a lot of the Memphis plays that they did good, but they weren't actually on the winner. It was kind of actually crazy. We talked about that a little bit in the Discord today. Thought that was really interesting. But we like Knicks values against Utah, right? Especially against Utah. It's a good matchup for them. I think it's a pretty good spot for these Knicks. I want to get back to them for sure. And we're talking about the pricing. I'm not a huge fan of the loose pricing, but because of the loose pricing, we have not made adjustments on guys. If we had the tighter pricing, Dante DiVincenzo would probably be 6.8K today. He's not 6.8K, right? These guys are just worth looking at. And also, one other thing to note, when it comes to certain coaches, right? We know Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse, what does he do? Plays his guys minutes. That's another conversation we've had in Discord over the past couple of weeks, is playing these teams the correct way. And I think the correct way to play the Knicks is play the starters, right? Quentin Grimes came in at a very high ownership yesterday, right? He came in, I think, in the $200 at I believe 44%. And Quentin Grimes at his price tag of 3.7, also different slate, but he played 32 minutes. He got 13 DK points. Now, he played decent minutes. He is a guy that I trust his minutes more than some of the other bench guys. But the point I was kind of getting at too with this is, sure, Quentin Grimes played minutes today, but you know who I know is going to play minutes? I know the Knicks starters are playing minutes, right? They are just getting pounded a ton of minutes. Quentin Grimes is fine. The price is good. I don't mind going back to it, but I prefer the starters more personally. I just think it's hard to ignore Dante DiVincenzo's role, Josh Hart's role, especially if an OG Anunoby's out, right? That's another piece of news that we are kind of waiting on, and that's going to be super important. If he's in, that is going to muddy some things up a little bit, but again, we don't have that information yet. That's why you need to be in the Discord chat. That's why Holden talks about getting in there, right? Because when we get this news, we discuss, hey, who's in, who's out, how do we rank the values? Something we can't really give on the free show without having the information, right? So Jalen Brunson, though, he is the guy, right? He is going to be the guy now without Julius Randle in there. It's not like OG Anunoby is just going to take it upon himself to be the guy. No matter what, Jalen Brunson's going to get good usage. Jalen Brunson is probably going to be a good play up until he's like 10.5K, right? You can argue get a discount now at this point. But guards against Utah have been great. An amazing spot for Jalen Brunson. But the question is, do you like him versus other studs, right? This is the thing that I say on every slate. Like yesterday, the question was, do you play Victor Wembanyama or do you play Luka, right? Or do you play both? And honestly, I didn't want to find any other pivots. I said, I'm playing those two studs and I don't care. I will get different in other spots in my lineups. So that's the thing that you might want to make a debate with when it comes to Brunson and some of these other plays. I assume Brunson will be a chalkier option on a shorter slate. Utah side of the ball. I think it's a little bit tougher to get to some of these plays. The prices have gone up on like a John Collins and some of these centers, they split minutes. But you could make a case that, hey, in MME formats, could a Kelly Olynyk pop off at 4-1? Yes, it could. But in like a single entry 3-max, am I super excited about him? No, I'm not super excited about him. There's just better plays. But I understand it a little bit in MME formats where I think with the Utah Jazz, I would probably set a limit on how many Jazz I'm playing. And it might just be max of one Jazz at this point. Because I'm not super excited about those plays. Colin Sexton at 6'8", I think there's really good upside there. He's shown it. 6'8" is just still a cheap price tag for the ceiling that he provides. So I think in MME formats, he's interesting. Again, single entry 3-max, not as excited about those plays. So overall, I know I talked a lot about this game, but it's a good game with some really awesome Knicks options that we have to consider. And I think the Jazz plays, I think they're more MME plays, right? I don't think they're as good in some of these other formats. And I definitely would limit how many I would play. I think that's a really important note.
It's wild to see the Knicks actually be good after not being good for like 15 years, just being an absolute debacle. 7 in a row. They're beating the shit out of teams. Rubio, what Knicks were you interested in tonight?
It's crazy that you were worried about filling an hour when we got Mangone on the stream here. You know,
I'm very happy we have him.
Yeah, I was ready to speak.
Hold on one second. Let me take it. Is this the girl you're taking to the ping pong place tomorrow?
No, Layla doesn't like me. You know, we have like certain people that don't like people.
Oh, she doesn't?
Yeah, Layla said the other day, she said, I can't believe a man is passionate about football when I was talking that Brock Purdy's not a game managing quarterback. But glad to see you're back, Layla. If you do happen to get out the door, hit the like before you get out the door, subscribe to the channel so you can check me out tomorrow live on the free show once again.
She'll probably still fucking be drunk.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point.
All right, so New York.
And Layla, if you are interested in a code, I will put together it just Layla, just for you, and 15% off your first payment. It just Layla. But you got to let me know before the end of the show if you want to be part of RPS. I don't know if you're going to be mean to Mangone. I don't know if this can stand.
Layla, if you join, we become best friends in the Discord too. You know, you can talk to me in there too. We become friends. You know, maybe we go from Holden. You and I were enemies at one point.
Well, that was JSU's fault.
I know,
not ours. All right, Rubio.
So
any Knicks?
Yeah. I'll talk on the FanDuel side of things tonight too, as well. Just kind of looking through the FanDuel side of the things. I think DiVincenzo, like what I said it on the up to lock, right? Like. Last night, you were always worried about DiVincenzo's minutes for the most part, right? You come in with the minutes on DiVincenzo, you're going to now, if OG Anunoby is out, you're going to get a load of minutes. Any times that Tibbs has these starters out there, especially without Randall, in a world with potentially without OG, like you're going to have DiVincenzo and Josh Hart just play a ton. And Brunson started off the first half really slow. I think he had a 13-3-2 stat line or something like that going into halftime. And then in the third quarter alone, he had like 15 points, 4 assists, and just showcased what he can be, capable of. Obviously the Knicks blew a big lead in that fourth quarter that allowed him to come back in the game very briefly. But like this Jalen Brunson side, I just love these Knicks again. I think the OG Anunoby news is just massive because if he's in, I think it would more turn me off on Precious because I assume Anunoby would start over Precious. But we also had someone in the chat mention earlier what Fred Katz reported is that Hartenstein is on a minutes limit of about 25 minutes. So that kind of makes me stay away from that front court situation unless Anunoby is out because Precious started last night, played the whole first quarter, didn't really get much traction until about the third quarter there early on. And he could be a guy that when everyone else is trying to hop off, you can hop on. And, those minutes are going to be safe as long as Hartenstein is very limited to those only 25 minutes and stuff. But I think, again, 2 or 3 Knicks minimum on FanDuel tonight. I just think that these guys, especially in the mid-range, I think 2 is probably the sweet spot. But 2 of these guys are just going to go off. The minutes are amazing. The matchup's great. You look on the Jazz side of the ball, you don't really need to run it back with anyone. But I think like maybe the guards or something like that, they always have the explosiveness of like Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. I think that's the move. But the Knicks are one of my favorite teams again tonight.
If you are a member, you can check out the premium show today. We'll be going 30 minutes later since the slate doesn't lock till 7:30 tonight. So that means we'll be going at 4:30 our time, 6:30 Eastern time. Yeah. And then Fallick wants to jump in on the Layla conversation. Layla, I'd like to request you change your avatar to prove you are a real person. If it is agreed that the first picture looks similar to the human in the second picture, I will pay for your first month. Meh. All right, 2 of our people are on mute.
It doesn't even prove that she's real.
No, not at all.
Say you can just pull up another picture from Google, Fallick.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like, hey, Fallick can do whatever he wants with his, money from his water filtration business. But, I don't know.
So we'll get going. Mangone, I'm coming back. I'm going to switch it up today. All you guys are going to have your chances to go first. By the way, does anybody like chocolate chip cookies? I'm going to go make some chocolate chip cookies after this. Anybody
I'm a sugar cookie kind of guy. Give me sugar cookies over chocolate chip.
Oh, am I allowed to tell people to the F word anymore? Mangone, can we do that still?
I mean, I don't know.
All right. Boss guy, go fuck yourself. Anyways, let's get into the next game here. Number 2 on a 5-game slate. And that'll be the Lakers and the Hawks 6-point spread. We got to talk about the Lakers. All right. This is what set Mangone off. So Mangone, I got to come to you first here. This is why you were going crazy, total ape shit, threatening people in the Discord today. Because the Lakers rotation is going to be all crazy after a double overtime game. Correct or incorrect?
It wasn't the Lakers, so it was more the Utah side the Golden State side that we were really discussing. We were discussing the rotations and do we trust Steve Kerr's rotations, right? Like Steve Kerr said that this is the starting lineup that he's going with going forward that he used in the Lakers game. It's Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kuminga, and then Wiggins. We did see a tighter rotation last game. The game before that, Draymond was not starting. We did not see a tighter rotation. So that was one of the conversations we're having. Can you trust Steve Kerr or can you not? We're also going to get Layla drunk. So can we trust Steve Kerr's rotation or can we not, right? What are we supposed to do with that? So I think I don't trust Steve Kerr's rotation. Does not totally mean that we should ignore some of these plays on Golden State, but I'm just not going to go out there and just be super confident that these guys are going to play like 36 to 40 minutes tonight, right? If for some reason you want to adjust your projections like that, go for it. That is your, analysis. For me, I'm not going to be as confident in that. I still think there are ways that Steve Kerr messes with this rotation. Now, regardless of that, I think as we look at everything, Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green, those are 2 really strong plays at the forward position on this slate that we should be looking at. I think they're really strong plays. As you look at some of these other options, how do you feel about Steph Curry? Curry's fine, right? But how do we feel about him versus like a Jalen Brunson at a similar price tag? I feel like I'd rather play Jalen Brunson, right? I'm only playing a couple of teams tonight, and I just don't feel like I need to jam in Steph Curry. I'd prefer to play Jalen Brunson at that price tag or a different stud. And then some of these Golden State guys, they are starting to get a little bit pricier. I mean, Klay Thompson is 6.1K. I mean, sure, he has upside at the price, but his floor sucks too. You got Podziemski at 5.2K. He has upside at the price, but will he get the minutes? That's something else to look at. You just have to look at all these prices and kind of make a decision on what you think. I think it's mainly looking at the forwards in Kuminga and Draymond, because I think at their prices and their positions, along with their upside, I think it's just too hard to ignore them in these spots, especially if you think Joel Embiid's playing. If Joel Embiid is playing, don't you think they're going to use Draymond Green on him when they put him at the 5 against the AD builds? Right, Layla? I mean, I just think it makes so much sense. So overall,
it's not Layla. Layla is this person's daughter.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell. Get off of Layla's account and get on your own. It's not that hard to switch over. But
my daughter has a stuffed animals YouTube account, but it's it's like only for like 5 or 6 people because there's a bunch of fucking creeps in here.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want my daughter randomly stumbling upon
with anybody in the chat.
Yeah. So, but so I think overall, I shifted over to the Golden State game because you messed me up, Holden. This is
Come on, we were talking about the Lakers.
Yeah, because you said it was the game I was fighting about. The game I was fighting about was Golden State. That was the one I was fighting
but they were playing the Lakers. So, I mean,
no,
you were so angry. I didn't even know what you're talking about.
They're not playing the Lakers. The Lakers are playing the Hawks. So
right, but they played each other the other night. Correct or incorrect?
That's correct. That's where you confused me. So I went completely out of order, but I'll shift back to the Lakers.
Did you just talk about a different game?
I did, yeah, because you confused me.
I was reading the chat. Sorry.
But anyways, the Lakers are the best plays on the slate, or the best values on the slate. Anthony Davis is out. You're going to like all these options. I can obviously let these guys touch on it a little bit more, but Rui Hachimura, obviously going to be a play that we want to look at. Jackson Hayes, starters are going to be important. This is a 7:30 game. The 7:30 lock time is at the normal lock time. Like, it's not 7 o'clock. We're going to have all this information. So I'm going to let starting lineups tell me what to really do with this situation. I think that's an important way to go about it for sure, because that's how the Lakers work. And then they're playing the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are one of the best spots to target in DFS right now. So we're going to want to play a lot of Lakers, and you can run back some Hawks if you want to. That's going to be the big thing. Is DeJounte Murray in or out? That's going to be a big piece of news that we're waiting on. DeAndre Hunter, he's questionable as well. It's going to be another thing that we're waiting on. And that could dictate how I change my teams if these guys are ruled out. So this is information that we are really waiting on, and it's one of the better games on the slate. I'm sure Bryce will touch upon a lot of these great Lakers values. Rubio will touch on it well too.
Well, again, let me let you know what game we're talking about here, Bryce. We're talking about the Lakers and the Hawks. These are 2 teams in the NBA. LeBron's questionable. AD's out. We're still waiting on news from Murray and Hunter on the other side. So who are some of the plays we're looking at here? Is there any way to save some money from this game, given we're pretty news dependent right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to fuck with you guys first. I'm going to do the late game because Travis started the trend. We're going to do the late game. We're going to do the late game early because it's the most important situation tonight. I think it's more important than the Lakers. I think Embiid is the best play on the slate, Holden.
See, Bryce
is the best play on the slate because nobody's going to play him because it's impossible to swap him one-on-one. If you play Embiid, play at least one other player in the lineup from that game so you have swap options.
But can we go back to the game that we were going to talk about?
I will now go back to the Lakers game.
Bryce,
I have one take on the Golden State game, and it's to play Embiid and play at least one other player in the game so you can swap.
But Bryce,
because no one's going to play Embiid without this news.
Would you put Embiid in utility? I think that's really important.
Well, so I was talking more about FanDuel. I mean, DraftKings, you could put him in utility, even if you could just swap to Steph and eat the money if you needed to. Like, there's enough value on the slate to do that. But I think Embiid is the best play on the slate because no one's going to fucking play him. You know, normally Embiid would be 40% owned here, and he's going to come in at 5 because people are too lazy to swap to him, and it's an island game, and it's hard to swap to him. In terms of Golden State, I hate Steve Kerr. I've always hated him, and I always will hate him. I do kind of trust this new rotation, though, and think they're good plays. Don't think they're quite as good of plays just because it's a little inflated with the double overtime game. So, fuck you, Holden. I just did the last game, too. we'll head over to the Lakers now.
I mean, it's literally everybody has no fucking idea where we are right now. You did no service to anybody here. So what game
I just gave you the winner of the slate, Joel Embiid. So there's your service.
Is he even playing? He might not even play.
Exactly. That's the whole point. No one's going to play him.
But hold on. What about the game we wanted to talk about, which was the Lakers and the Hawks?
So it's kind of hard to give you guys a Hawks breakdown right now without Murray. If Murray's in, I kind of think all these guys are, like one-off type of plays, maybe a two-off. Lakers defense sucks ass, but, the Hawks are priced up because Trae Young was out for so long. So now they're all going to
play, by the way.
Now they're all too expensive. Who's going to play?
DeJounte's probable and Hunter's in.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think the Hawks are a pretty easy fade here, other than a one-off. They're just too expensive because they're all priced up because Trae Young was out for so long. In terms of the Lakers, they're all priced down, and you get AD out. LeBron's going to be the highest owned stud on the slate. I'll probably be slightly under him. I guess I don't know. It depends what I want to do with Embiid. I think the secondary Lakers players are super good here. You get Russell and you get Reeves, and especially Reeves at his price point at 5.9 with like a lot more ball handling responsibility today. So I think those guys are super good plays. I think whoever starts for them, whether it's Hachimura or Vanderbilt, I think both deserve to be in your pool, but give the lean to whichever one starts. So, yeah, I actually prefer the Knicks to the Lakers in this spot, but give me the Lakers as the second best values of the slate.
Rubio, it's been about 20 minutes since you talked, so I'd really love to hear your, what do they call them, dulcet tones. And the game we'll be talking about is the Lakers at the Hawks. The Lakers at the Hawks.
So, yes, the Lakers, that's where all the interest is, and especially on FanDuel. Like I said, I'll provide the FanDuel perspective a little bit more. Like, both Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood are both power forward eligible, which is a big deal. When you're relating it to the late game, if you wanted to play Embiid, you can with these value guys. That's huge, right? I really like the Lakers here. I think D'Angelo Russell has found a lot of form. We know what Trae Young is like defensively. The dude's a revolving door, and Russell is out with something to prove a little bit. And I don't think it's a guarantee that LeBron plays, but if he does, like, we're going to have the news at 7 o'clock most likely, right? And that's what that premium show, they'll do a great job breaking it down. But, like, if LeBron's in, we saw what Luka did to this Atlanta Hawks defense, right? He dropped 73 or whatever. Like, this Hawks defense is a joke. The pace is high, and I think the spread just indicates that maybe LeBron may sit too, which is kind of surprising. And if he's out, 4 Lakers is absolutely something that you can do tonight. Even 5. I'm just looking at the pricing here. I mean, obviously, a lot of power forwards would be great, but you're going to just have a ton of good plays on the Lakers side of the ball. I think right now I'll probably have 2 or 3. And if LeBron's out, it could be 4 or 5 even. I mean, it's just kind of the way you got to look at the slate there. Jackson Hayes is someone who will come off the bench, probably play about 18, 20 minutes. Christian Wood, I expect to start. We know that the last time AD was out and Christian Wood started, it was a letdown. So hopefully it's not the same thing here. I think it's really hard to let down against the Atlanta Hawks, though. D'Angelo Russell is just in great form, and Austin Reeves has not been in great form. Like, if you kind of wanted to just break it down a little bit further, like, Reeves has not found a groove right now. He can't shoot it from deep, and he's struggling. And this is a get right spot for sure. But it just goes to show that, like, Russell definitely has the advantage over him right now. Flipping over to the Hawks side of the ball, it's the same thing of what Bryce said, right? Like, you don't need any of these Hawks. You don't need to run it back. You could have 4 Lakers. It does not mean you need to have an Atlanta Hawk. Trae Young's presence back in this lineup. You have DeJounte Murray, who's brought $1K too expensive now because of that. Jalen Johnson's about $1K too expensive. Like, none of these guys are priorities for me. DeAndre Hunter is going to be popping the most on point per dollar, but he's a forward. You don't need forwards with all these Lakers and Knicks here. I'm just stay away from Atlanta.
Rubio, since you're the only person that can seem to stay on task in this show, because I sure as hell can't. Schlong decided to take 3 games at once, and then there's Mangone. Why don't you take our third game that's going on tonight, and that'll be the Pacers at the Celtics in a hearty 245.5 total. Outside of that Lakers-Hawks total, this is This is number 2, and we got Porzingis questionable. Horford's out. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen this matchup. I want to say it's like at least the third or fourth time we've seen this already this season. I think it's the fourth time actually because they went against each other in the tournament. Tyrese Halliburton back, right? He's going to be on a minutes limit. What this does to the rest of the lineup, and it cuts the usage down. Halliburton's such a ball dominant guy in terms of where he just runs the offense. He's able to kind of get this offense to flow. I don't know if it hurts Pascal Siakam. We've hardly seen them play together at all. I assume it helps though, just because he's going to get open. He's going to be able to cut. Halliburton's going to be able to find him. And with Nembhard being the lead guard lately, it really wasn't the case. And Siakam hasn't had a smooth transition, but he's been fine. The Pacers have definitely clicked over the last couple games, and Halliburton being back should benefit that. But with Halliburton back, what does that mean? Same thing that we said about Trae Young. All these guys are a little bit priced up for their roles, and Halliburton's going to cut into that. And it's just not the spot that you really want to attack. You really want to go against Boston. And Boston, especially with Porzingis, when Porzingis is in, that defense is unreal. Porzingis is very good down low. He matches up well against this Pacers team. And they missed him in that tournament game against the Pacers. And, if he plays tonight, I don't see myself being on the Pacers. I mean, the pace is going to be fine and stuff. It's going to be a high total game. But this is a game that I'm going to be more interested on the Boston side than the Indiana side. Like Tatum, 10K, we know what he can do. Jaylen Brown's found some form and gotten hot in some games. Like Porzingis, this is a great spot for big men. Like those are the 3 guys that I'd prioritize here for the Celtics and just overall in this game, and then kind of move on to the other ones.
All right, Mangone, going to you, number 2 here with the Pacers and the Celtics. And I guess a lot of the Celtics side is dependent on the Porzingis news, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a big piece of news that we're waiting on. I kind of lean that he sits just because they played Horford yesterday. It does seem much like a classic. Like now we play Porzingis. That's how they would – it seems like a planned rest in that way, at least in my opinion. And they've talked about it. These coaches, they do planned rest stuff, and they don't say it ahead of time. They just kind of say, hey, we're planning on doing this like a couple weeks out, and it just makes sense. So I think he sits. I could be wrong, but we'll see. We'll know this in time. Boston is clearly in play for someone like Tatum at 9.2K. I mean, the upside that he has, just too good to pass up on, right? The dude was 4% last night, and he dropped 59.5, which is, if he's going to be low owned, you got to consider Tatum, right? Almost any single slate, especially at a 9.2K price tag. I think he's in play. I talked about it yesterday. I do still feel confident that Derek White and Drew Holiday, especially in matchups against Indiana, at their price tags, they have the ability to hit pretty nice ceilings. Now, they're not going to hit ceiling performances every single time, but they have the ability to do it, right? There's the way this pricing has worked, there's a lot more of these like higher 5K, 6K, and even low 7K guys that have the ability to break the slate. If they get you 50 DK points, they're just going to be better than some of these studs that get you like the classic, 55, right? If Shaky Lewis Alexander gets you like between 50 and 60 every night, well, sure, that's fine, but it's not as good as having these other guys that have that huge ceiling. And of course, you're not going to get that every single time. But my point being is these guys in this range have the ability to break slates. I think that there's the possibility that you're going to have the opportunity for these guys to break the slate. So I think at that price in MME formats, you have to consider it, and in 3 max formats too. Tyrese Halliburton, expecting him to be in, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think this team is a lot tougher to play with someone like him in. And I also think they're just tough to play in general, right? Now, if guys sit, it makes them a little bit more interesting, but just keep in mind, Rick Carlisle goes deeper into his bench. I talk about coaching tendencies, why we talked about playing Nick Nurse and playing these Sixers a ton. Like if Embiid is in, I know Embiid is playing 1 million minutes. He's not going to be restricted to 25 minutes unless they somehow say that. So not stressed about that at all. But I am a little worried about playing Pacers options and just picking wrong, even if guys are out, because you never know who that closing 5 is going to be. It's just an absolute disaster situation. So I would need a lot of these Pacers to somehow be ruled out. And I just don't think that's going to be the case today.
All right. We're flying through the show here. So we got game number 3 for you, Schlong, Pacers, Celtics. And then if you want to transition into Raptors, Bulls, that's fine too. But we'll start with the Celtics side, huh?
All right. You're my boss now. So, it's too hard for you to follow people jumping around games. It's just sign of low intelligence, Holden.
You're not the first person to say that to me today.
I'm not surprised. I would be more surprised if you didn't get told that more often.
My cat told that to me.
in terms of Boston here, I'm assuming Porzingis plays. I think they're really solid plays here, to be honest. Tatum at 9.2 seems really good to me on DraftKings. Super pace-up game. Whenever Halliburton's in, they just play so fast. I think Holiday and White should be in your pool. They're not like priorities for me. I think Porzingis would definitely be contrarian if he's in, and he's super cheap. So kind of like that play as well. Moving over to the Pacers side, I kind of think everyone has the clap. I see everyone is listed as questionable for illness. Kind of assume that all of them play here. If a lot of them were to miss, I'd have more interest in the Pacers. Right now I'm assuming them all in. It's an early game, so you guys will know. But, you guys touched on it really well. They just have such a deep rotation, and Halliburton's back to take all the usage. The one guy that stands out to me here is Siakam. His minutes and role seem the safest to me if you're trying to play the Pacers. Otherwise, they're going to go 10 deep. They're going to play Halliburton, 25 to 30 minutes, I guess. And that just kind of really vultures a lot of the value on the Pacers. So, unless tons of crazy injury shit pops up, I'm off them for the most part.
All right. So then Raptors, Bulls. By the way, did you give your whole Sixers Warriors breakdown?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can leave after this game if you want to. You can just take off.
Well, the show's over in 2 minutes, Holden. I was trying to move it along because
I hope the show's over in 2 minutes. I got some cookies to make before our show coming up. What are you shaking your head for, Mangone? No, it's very therapeutic.
We don't have to rush off. Why do we have to be off?
Baking is therapeutic.
Bryce doesn't want to hang out with us, apparently.
I don't blame him.
He wants, I get it. He's moving his parents. It's not a fun experience. I'd be pretty.
Dog's not close to him. His dog's in another part of the house.
It's an awful experience, so I get it. He was moving a treadmill. That sounds miserable. So I get it.
All right, so Schlong.
And it's a one-man job until my sister gets here. So moving a treadmill by yourself, it's like an old school treadmill. I had to take the door off because the doorway was too skinny. So yeah, I fucking hate moving.
All right, Raptors Bulls. 6 point
quick story.
Spread. Yeah,
I was a professional mover in high school. It's how I made my money to put on FanDuel and initially make money. So if I wasn't a mover, I wouldn't be here. So
a chunk of our lives were
there
not getting back. Do you want to talk about this this Raptors game?
Yeah, I think Toronto goes super underowned. I don't see how these guys aren't great plays. With quickly and Barrett out, I think Dennis Schroeder, goes super underlooked. I think Scotty Barnes is a really good play. I think Gary Trent's a very strong play here. And then on the other side of the ball, you get Levine out. These Chicago guards have been super, super solid. I almost shipped the other night with DeRozan. I wouldn't really call him a guard. He's more of a swing man, but I think this is one of the lower owned games of the night, and it shouldn't be. I think you should be playing value in players in this game on both sides. Favorites, I like the high end and I like the low end here. Barnes, DeRozan, Vooch, White, and then you get down into, Schroeder, even Caruso and Gary Trent.
Rubio, your turn, buddy. Let's go. Let's hit this one up here with the Bulls and the Raptors so we can get out of here.
Yeah, especially on FanDuel. You look at the DeRozan, Kobe White, Nikola Vucevic. This rotation for the Bulls is thinned down to about 8.5, 9 guys, really, for the most part. And all three of those guys are 8K or 8.1 in DeRozan's case, too. I think the Bulls are very good here. I think that the usage that, one of the two of Kobe White and DeMar DeRozan command is just really nice. And I really like playing Scotty Barnes right now, too.
He's heating up. He's heating up.
Has really stepped up lately, has done well. I think 9,300 is not bad at all, especially on FanDuel there too, where I think with Pirtle back, you're going to have a little bit of a mix up in that front court, but I do think that Barnes's role is going to kind of maintain. I think that, we already talked about a lot of value. We talked about the mid-range with the New York Knicks. We talked about the cheap side with the Lakers. This is where you can kind of spend up a little bit. You don't have to go all the way up to the top shelf, but you get guys in the 8K, 9K range on FanDuel. This is where I would do it in this game. Hope it stays close and hope it explodes.
All right.
He's heating up. He's heating up.
Mangone, settle down with the sound.
He's on fire.
Which one of you two morons is doing that?
Well, Rubio's the moron who imported these. I'm the moron using them. So. I figured it'd be funny to
this is the last time I ever hop on the show for my own volition. You're gonna have to make me do it from now on. Raptors, Bulls, Mangone. Any interest here?
Yeah, I'm scared of what Rubio's gonna do to me now after I did that. I forgot I have to talk. So Shog about to pull out. That's pretty good. Yeah, the news is super important, obviously, with like Quickly, even Jakob Poeltl. I'm assuming like one of those guys will at least play, but I don't know which one. I will mention, did you guys see what Jordan Nwora did the other night? I know someone said it in the chat, but the dude played 31 minutes and had 47 DK points. I am not chasing that, but it was interesting that happened. I'm not thinking of anything of it, but maybe I should look deeper at the rotations on it. He's 4.2K, and you need both those guys to be out if that was the case. I did agree with like what Rubio said about like, DeRozan and White, their usage has been really good, and Vucevic's another guy at 7.5. I don't think you want to completely ignore him, and I kind of agree with what Rubio was saying. This is a spot where I mainly play spend ups. I'm not looking for value in this game as much. So I think overall, I'm going to focus on a lot of these studs, maybe mixing and matching them in my lineups, and not really looking at the values in this game. I thought that was like the best point that he brought up there.
Rubio Dimes, it's finally your chance to get to speak again, my friend.
About the Philadelphia 76ers game. I'll be the last one to speak on it, too, despite going first. I'm in 100% agreement with Bryce. I think that if you save your center spot and you go Embiid, and this is on FanDuel, right? Because I think on DraftKings it's more obtainable. You'll be able to have a little bit more maneuver ability, I should say. I don't know how to exactly say it, but Embiid plays at 12-3 at basement ownership for what he's been doing this season. Like if you get him at 10% ownership or 15%, like that's a joke. He's been the best player in fantasy basketball this season, and this is a Warriors team that really just hasn't stopped anyone. And if they're going to roll out the lineup with Draymond at the 5, like no one can defend Embiid. And I know Draymond's fine; he's a good defender and stuff, but he's not able to defend Embiid. And this is where you take the risk, right? If I told you if you were doing one or two lineups tonight and you don't have Embiid, well, why are you playing DFS then, right? Like you have the number one guy in fantasy basketball at low ownership as the late hammer of the night. And, you put $10, $15 down on FanDuel in one lineup, you do one bullet, take the risk. He's the best player in basketball. He's going to absolutely smoke everyone tonight. And, we have enough value to spend up for him. You know what? If he sits too, you can have a contingency plan. Like Bryce said, you have two guys with him, right? What if you had a point guard, kind of on the lower end, 5K and Embiid? You got 17K salary there, right? Go to Curry, and then maybe you have to go. Let's see who's center eligible for the
Paul Reed. He's a fucking great play.
Yeah. And Draymond, center eligible at 6,800 too. So like you're able to do this stuff, and like Tobias Harris or Tyrese Maxey, like you said too, like you're able to be flexible in that late game and just don't be afraid. If Embiid sits, sure, we drew the short end of the stick, but we're going to be winners doing it if he plays. That's the best part.
OG Anunoby just got rolled out, so that's a very big piece of news. We'll be loading up on Knicks tonight, I will say.
Well, guess what?
Knicks are going to be mega chalk.
On the Up to Lock show with Big T, JSU, myself, we will discuss all of this news, and we'll get you ready. And if you haven't signed up yet, go to runpuresports.com. Check it out. Well, you can use a code NEWYEAR15. I don't think it's just Layla is ready yet for our promo code, which is unfortunate. But make sure you sign up. We got a bet side too, which is absolutely killing it. Do you feel like, Mangone, you've talked enough about the last game when you did it off the cuff 30 minutes ago?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the Golden State stuff. I didn't really talk about Philadelphia, so I can touch on it quick. I agree with that everyone's saying about Embiid. Like, hey, like this is a spot to take a chance, right? Like it's something you do throughout the season where you just say, I'm going to take a chance on this, and sometimes I'm going to be wrong. It's not going to work out, but overall, it makes sense. It's like betting Pat Mahomes as an underdog. You just do it every time, and you'll collect money through the 15 years, right? So, yeah, I think Joel Embiid, 12K, really good option. Of course, the pivot idea, you want to have a pivot. You could have the pivot of Embiid all the way down to Curry, but you're leaving 3K. That's probably egregious. I agree with. Come up with a plan, right? Have a plan in place that if he gets ruled out, then what can I do? I think that is an important aspect of it. And hey, if you have an Embiid miss, wouldn't you want to play Tobias Harris at 6'6", right? He is someone that I would definitely want to think about playing and some of these other options. So definitely don't want to ignore the Philadelphia plays. You also will probably not have this information by the time I think all 4 games will be started, and then you'll get the information. Typically, we get an update an hour and a half before tip-off. Well, an hour and a half before tip-off is all the games are going to be underway. So if you have the idea that, oh, I can figure it out, and if not, I have Toronto and Chicago to pivot to, you don't really have that, I think, in play to pivot to. So that's another thing to note. You're probably just only working with that island game.
All right, Rubio, let's get your play of the day so we can get the hell out of here. The promo code, are you being serious or are you just being a jabroni? New Year 15, NEWYEAR 15, one word. With
only 2 days left on that promo code, by the way, and then it's just run pure. So it'll be 2 days left in the New Year 15.
If you're too dumb to type in New Year 15, just wait a couple days and it'll be run pure.
Yes, it'll be run pure.
Don't wait. You'll miss out on tonight's stuff. What's your play, Rubio?
I'm gonna save Bryce's. I know Bryce's for sure. My play tonight is also a bet. Josh Hart, 6K. Also 40-1 get a triple double on DraftKings Sportsbook right now. He's 28-1 on FanDuel. I watched the whole game last time out. He easily could add 10 assists. Obviously he fell short in both assists and points, but I think 40-1 is good value, and this is a good pace-up spot. A lot of his minutes are with Brunson off the court, too. When Brunson's off the court, Hart tends to be on the court, too, which is always good if you're betting those like assist props, too. So Josh Hart's my guy tonight with the Anunoby out.
We got Schlong play of the day.
Joel Embiid.
Mangone.
Set up your fucking swaps. Don't be lazy. They're great plays if he's out, too.
Mangone, play of the day.
All right. I'm trying to decide if I want to go low. It's a 5-game slate, right? You can't always.
You can do whatever you want. You could say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I mean, that would probably get a 0. All right, let's go. I mean, I really like targeting the Indiana spot, and I'm going to target with Jason Tatum at 9.2. I just think 9.2K is way too cheap as a stud to spend up for. So give me Jason Tatum as my play of the day.
All right, subscribers, head on over in about 35 minutes. Big T, JSU. I'll join those guys. We'll get you ready for tonight's 5-gamer. For Rubio, Mangone, and Schlong, I'm Holden. Come on, Mangone. Stop it already.